Stapakaya ca dharmasya sarvadharmasvarupine Stapakaya ca dharmasya sarvadharmasvarupine Avataravarishthaya Ramakrishna te Namah Asato ma sadgamaya Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya Asato ma sadgamaya Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya Mrityormamritangamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us offer our salutations to Sri Ramakrishna, the embodiment of all religions, the Supreme God incarnate. Let us pray to Him to remove all our ignorance, to lead us from the darkness to light, to give us freedom, to give us the experience of the vision of God. Today's topic, power of words. It is very important to note the significance of the words, how we should be very careful in using words. In a way, we should be careful in our talks. So it's very important to understand the importance of the usage of the words. They have tremendous power. We express thoughts through words. Speech is a verbal expression of silent thought. The internal audible expression is word. Speech is a vehicle which conveys our thoughts and feelings. It helps us to communicate with people. How the words play important role in our life. Through words, you can hurt a person or you can love a person. You can express agreement or disagreement. Not only that, through words, you can destroy a person or you can save him. That means everything is in the word. That means how powerful the words are. The Divine Spirit expresses itself through the divine idea, and the divine idea through divine sound. or word. Shabda means sound or word. Every word is the expression of some idea or desire that arises in us. So when we think about the mantras, we sometimes advise the people in distress to utter some mantras, to invoke gods. The mantras stand for the spiritual urges of man. Just as an ordinary word, when it is heard or when it is uttered, it can arouse a certain idea or desire in us. So also, the mantras can arouse in us our latent spiritual tendencies. Everyone has that tendency, but they are all in dormant condition. We have not given attention to them, so they are lying there, but they are yours. You must know the technique of rousing them. That technique is given to you by the Guru. That you will get only through your association with the holy people. So the purpose of japa is nothing but to awaken the forgotten spiritual tendency in you. That's why we generally tell the aspirants to do more and more japa. They have got tremendous effect. In fact, the power of mantra manifests itself only in qualified aspirants. You must become qualified. Then only you can experience the result. Without necessary qualification, you won't get the desired result. There is an incident towards the end of his life. Sri Ramakrishna one day initiated Swami Vivekananda, his disciple, with Rama mantra at the Kasipur Garden House. Immediately it had a tremendous effect upon Vivekananda. A tremendous change took place in him. The result was he entered into an ecstatic state. So much so, he went round and round the house several times, repeating the name of the Lord Rama in a high and very excited voice. He had practically no outward consciousness and spent the whole night in this way. That means how the mantra produced tremendous power in him. The word mantra literally means that which frees the soul through reflection. Mantrat trayate iti. For an advanced spiritual soul, it is a concentrated thought of great power leading to profound spiritual experiences. Probably you are well aware of the famous Dr. Hans Jacobs, a very eminent Western psychiatrist. In his book, Western Psychotherapy and Hindu Sadhana, he says very emphatically, there can be no greater inspiration for strength and power than the idea of the Indian Vedanta that the soul is essentially divine. So deep thinking of our divine heritage will make us more and more divine. So words are to be used in that direction. But unfortunately, we are using words in wrong direction, using wrong words, so having all negative effects. Why are we suffering? Because we don't know how to use the words. That means we commit errors. Errors bring about sorrow. And ultimately, we are in trouble. We will be completely down with some kind of weakness. Consequently, remedy is seen in strength, and strength is conveyed by basing oneself not on the individual but on the universal. So mantra does everything that is needed to make you divine. You have forgotten the divine nature. It gives back to you that divine nature. Mantra has that tremendous power. It brings you back to the right position, and it makes you experience immense peace and bliss. Again, to quote Dr. Jacobs, he says in the book, the mantra is of such a nature that by the vibrations it produces, it counteracts psychological drawbacks of the sadhaka, the aspirant, providing those elements which in his subtle body are lacking, counteracting those which are in excess. All these things are done by the mantra. Psychosis is generated by conflicts, confusion and frustration of the mind and by uncontrolled emotions. In order to set right, you will have to have higher values and apply them in your life. You must have value orientation to your life. That means it is essential. You will have to associate with holy people. You will have to constantly hear more and more the words from the holy people who are living the life of spirituality. These words will act upon your samskaras effectively and rise you up towards the spiritual goal of peace, love and joy. Now, second point, our knowledge is preserved and built upon word, the combination of words. Knowledge, whether spiritual or secular, has to depend on some verbal structure. the scriptures of the world, those speaking in different languages have the same thought and experience. Similar is the case with science and literature. Human pain and suffering, joy and pleasure are the same everywhere, but they are expressed in the myriads of languages differently. Science and technology have removed the barriers of physical distance between different nations, and as a result, the world has now become a closely knit society. Any new addition to human knowledge, any new inventions or discoveries that are taking place all over the world, in no time become the common heritage of this united human society. So we are all one. We are not different. Thoughts are translated into different languages so as to find their fruition in action. So words are responsible for the extensive knowledge about the external universe. The precious thoughts of great people would have been lost to posterity in the absence of words. Today we are all immensely enjoying the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna, an account of the recordings done by Master Mahashay. He has recorded whatever Sri Ramakrishna has said. They are available in the book form, Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. If you read those teachings, you feel you are just in the presence of Sri Ramakrishna himself. That is the power of the words. So, mankind owes much to the records of history. But as I said earlier, there are dangers too. If we misinterpret the words, they have bad consequences. There is a saying, even a devil can quote scriptures. Shakespeare exclaimed in The Merchant of Venice, "How every fool can play upon the word." Inspired utterances of great souls have showered blessings on human society. Proper understanding or wisdom can alone lead to right speech. In Buddha's Ashtangika Marga, the eightfold noble path that leads to spiritual freedom, he has listed them. Right of speech or control of speech is one of them. Right speaking consists of abstention from lying, slander, using harsh words, and frivolous talk. See how many steps we have to undertake to be careful to have the control of speech. The unbridled mind leads to uncontrolled speech. Thoughts of anger, thoughts of hatred, thoughts of jealousy, they do come. But if you patiently wait, they appear and disappear of their own accord, if left to themselves. But once the formless thoughts take the concrete shape in words, then it becomes difficult to escape from their consequences. People never forget, even after many years, unkind words spoken to them. Malevolent words excite one to do unwise acts and bring misery. Words uttered by a fanatic wreak havoc in society. On the contrary, benevolent words or words of wisdom lead a groping soul to love and light. Mind is vulnerable to the influence of words, both constructive and destructive. Kind and well-spoken healing words have not only the power to draw people, but also soften their hearts. If a man in distress comes to you, just spare a few minutes, just sympathize about him. It gives a tremendous soothing effect. He feels immensely grateful that he was allowed to speak out his suffering. Suppose you use unkind and arrogant words, they have reactionary effects upon the mind. They will drive people away. A person with few graceful and truthful words wins the goodwill of all. The power of thought is transmitted silently by the pure people living that life of purity. When the heart is full, the tongue is silent. There is an instance how it is true. In March 1911, Holy Mother, Sri Sharda Devi, the consort of Sri Ramakrishna, she went to South India on pilgrimage. She visited Rameshwaram and other places. She came to Bangalore, the capital of Karnataka state in India, South India. She stayed there for about a week in the ashram. Number of devotees came, have blessings from Holy Mother. They were very happy to sit in front of her. One day, large number of people had come. They were all sitting there. Mother is sitting, just looking at them, but no words. Silently, Mother is looking at them. Silently, but lovingly. The love is expressed through her eyes. Compassion, kindness, love. Those things are expressed through her wonderful eyes. People were greatly satisfied, even though Mother could not speak, because the language of Karnataka was Kannada, which Mother didn't know. And the people could not communicate with Holy Mother because people did not know Bengali language. That means there was perfect silence. There was no verbal communication. And when mother expressed her anguish that a few words of her could have given solace to them, when they heard it through a translator, all of them, they said in one voice, "No, no, no, this is all right. Our hearts are full indeed. No words are needed on such an occasion." See? There is a saying, fortunes and misfortunes, friends and foes reside in one's tongue. Shakespeare again, to quote, he cautions in King Lear, "Mend your speech a little, lest you may mar your fortunes." In Sanskrit there is a wonderful shloka which tells, "Lakshmir vasati jihvagre, jihvagre mitra bandhavaha, bandhanam chaiva jihvagre, jihvagre maranam dhruvam." It's a wonderful Sanskrit shloka. The meaning is, prosperity is in the gift of words. Tongue makes relatives and friends. By wrong use of words, one slips into an inescapable trap. Death knocks at his door who is unwise in the use of words. So, you should be careful before you speak. Otherwise, later on, regrets will not mend the damage. Speech is a window to a person's character. One may be wealthy, one may be very powerful, but words uttered pierce all camouflage and reflect the true inner character. Sri Ramakrishna says in the Gospel, "One speaks as one thinks." If a man thinks of worldly things day and night and deals with people hypocritically, then his words are colored by his thoughts. If one eats radish, he belches radish. There was a famous king, Bhartrhari. He says, he was a great poet. He has composed many verses. His famous verses are Vairagya Shatakam, 100 verses, very famous. He says, "Neither do bracelets nor necklaces brilliant like the moon, nor bathings, nor the use of perfumes, nor flowers, nor decorated hair become ornaments to a man, but it is speech with grace alone that adorns him." What a fine poetry. All other ornaments are destructible, but the power of speech is an everlasting adornment. Kshiyante khalu bhushanani satatam vagbhushanam bhushanam. That is the Sanskrit version of what I said now. Some people have some tendency, that is, they may do some good, But they go on bragging for days about it. Some people boast that they are straightforward in speech, they don't mince words, and they don't hesitate to speak boldly to the face of others what they feel. This is all nothing but vanity. You must know clearly, whatever you give to others, that will come back to you with compound interest. What goes out, ill or well, comes back to the sender. It is an inexorable law. People forget this and as an upshot suffer, blaming either their destiny or God. There are people who blame God for their wrongdoings. Observing this, Niti Shataka, another Sanskrit verses, it states, Pradhanam prachannam gruhamupagate sambrahma vidhi priyankritva maunam sadasi kathanam chapyupakratehe. Its meaning is, one should keep one's generosity a secret, must extend cheerful hospitality to guests arriving at one's doors, should keep silent about the good he has done to others, but on the other hand should proclaim among the people the benefits received from others. What a fine words to think on, the beauty of them. There was a famous French novelist, Alexandre Dumas. He puts it nicely. He says, forget what you give and remember what you receive. Once, Swami Chidananda, a great disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, said about an incident. There was a devotee, the nature of the devotee was, she would talk too much. If she gives even a tender coconut, the entire house will know of it by her shouting. Holy Mother said, it is not good to be so much talkative. One only invites misery for oneself by constantly dwelling on defects in everything. A particular devotee has lost all sense of delicacy in her obsession about speaking the truth. I, for one, cannot bring myself to do that. An unpleasant truth should never be told. This is recorded in the Gospel of Holy Mother. In Manu Samhita, it is said, speak the truth, speak the pleasant, do not speak the unpleasant truth, do not speak the pleasant untruth. Both are important. Once at Dakshineshwar, a devotee came to see Sri Ramakrishna. He was there for some time. But he behaved in such a way Swami Adbhutananda, one of the direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, he didn't like the improper behavior of that particular devotee. So he scolded him. Swami Adbhutananda scolded that devotee for his improper behavior. Of course, the devotee was hurt, deeply hurt. Sri Ramakrishna saw this. Then he called Adbhutananda and told him, look, it's not good to speak harshly to those people who come here. You must know they are tormented with worldly problems. They come here to have some peace, some relief. But if you scold them for their shortcomings, where will they go? So, in the presence of holy company, never use harsh words to anyone and never say anything to cause pain to another. Such was the limitless compassion of Sri Ramakrishna. These are all wonderful teachings which we should constantly meditate upon. You must transform your life. Don't say, I am like this, I am like this. If you always say you are a fool, you will be a fool only. Think in opposite way. In Gita, again Lord Krishna, speaking about the austerity of speech, Vangmaya tapas, he says. Vangmaya tapas. Anudvegakaram vakyam. Satyam priyahitancha yat. Swadhyaya bhyasananchaiva. Vangmayam tapa uchyate. Speaking truthfully, pleasantly, and kindly with words that do not excite others, and reading scripture, these constitute austerity of speech. When you practice austerity of speech, you will see how the words produce tremendous power. In Bible also, there is a warning. It says, the stroke of the tongue breaketh bones. Many have fallen by the edge of the sword, but not so many as have fallen by the tongue. And weigh thy words in a balance, and make a door and bar for thy mouth. So, it means, it's not that we should not speak at all. You can speak, you can talk, but have some control. Don't talk too much. When you are in a fit of anger or emotionally upset, you should try your best to refrain from the uncontrolled outbursts. When once words go out, they can't be stalled. Words feed on words and may lead to undesirable violent actions and reactions. The tendency of the mind is to brood over some silly and petty matters and magnify them. It usually results in making a mountain out of a mole. mountain out of a molehill. The monologue that goes on incessantly in the means in the mind through the medium of words gives rise to all kinds of wild imaginings. One impetuous remark can cause much mental anguish. There is a wonderful, humorous story in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Once, a gentleman went to a barber shop. He wanted a shave. While shaving, the barber made a slight cut by the razor. At once the gentleman cried out, "Damn!" The barber didn't know the meaning of the word and insisted on knowing what it meant. But he did not get any proper reply. Then the barber said, "If damn means something good, then I am a damn, my father is a damn, and all my ancestors are damns. But if it means something bad, then you are a damn, your father is a damn, and all your ancestors are damns." Sri Ramakrishna tells this in the Gospel. Now, how to deal with wicked people? You may rebuke these people, but without hatred or malice. You have the right to hiss at these people, but not to bite. Hissing is all right, not biting. Therefore it is said, while dealing with the wicked, watchfulness and caution should be exercised. Shatyam sada durjane. In Sanskrit it is called like that. So, of all the powers, truth is the most powerful. Everything pays homage to it. The character of a truthful person is like the transparent waters of the Himalayan Ganga. His words are packed with immense power and purity. A liar or corrupt person day and night is worried and is anxious to shield his lies and misdeeds from exposure to public. He spends sleepless nights in paralyzing fear at the prospect of sudden detection. What kind of life it is? Nothing but miserable. He leads a very miserable life in spite of all possessions and position. Whereas a truthful person is free and happy. He may not have all the worldly goods or social status, but he is ever contented and joyous life possible for him. That will make even a king envious. Therefore, Sri Ramakrishna and all other great Mahatmas, they emphasize again and again the importance of truth. Sri Ramakrishna said, even those engaged in worldly activities, such as office work or business, should hold on to the truth. Truthfulness alone is the spiritual discipline in the Kali Yuga. Now let us consider one or two incidents to understand how the words act upon. You know, in Ramayana, Dasharath made all arrangements for crowning Sri Rama, his dearest son. He wanted to make him crown prince. He had fixed the date. All the people came to know about it. They were all very happy. All the people were cheerful. So, they were all celebrating in a way the event that would occur. There was one lady, her name was Manthara, a hunchback, an attendant of Kaikeyi, one of the queens of Dasharath. She did not know why these people are so happy. So she went and inquired. She came to know that Sri Rama was going to be coronated as crown prince. So they were all happy. But though all the people were expressing their happiness, this particular lady was terribly sad, terribly angry. Immediately she ran to Kaikeyi. She began to poison Kaikeyi's heart. Kaikeyi had tremendous love towards Rama. There was none who disliked Rama. Everybody loved Rama. And Kaikeyi too considered Rama as her own son. Kaikeyi's son was Bharat. At the time this incident happened, Bharat had gone to uncle's home. But this lady, the hunchback, began to talk all nonsense in a very forceful way. Finally, Kaikeyi succumbed to this bad counsel. She said, this Manthara is telling Kaikeyi, why are you so foolish? Don't you know what is happening? Once Rama is crowned king, what chance has Bharata? Bharata will be neglected. He will be thrown out. He will be nowhere. Don't you know the rule of succession? When Rama ascends the throne, all prospects of royalty for Bharata and his line are at an end. After Rama, Rama's son will be king, and after him, that son's son will be king. And so succession will go on. Eldest son succeeds eldest son. There is no chance for a younger brother, no matter how good or manly he is. You know not even this? What is one to do? Once Rama is crowned, he will not leave Bharata alone. So Bharata will be in danger. If you want Bharata to live, advise him to remain away, an exile from home. For if he returns, he will be coming to his death. It would be safest for him to leave even his uncle's home and hide his head in obscurity in some more distant land. And what is this Kausalya? She is no friend of yours. She bears you a grudge because you are the king's favorite, and you have often slighted her, and now she is sure to take vengeance on you. You know the wrath of a rival wife is a raging fire when it finds its chance. You may take it that if Rama is king, Bharata is as good as dead. Therefore, think hard, be firm, decide something and stick to it. Somehow you must see Bharata must be crowned. See that Rama is banished from the kingdom. Like that, she began to again and again talk to her in different ways. These powerful words of mantra pierced Kaikeyi's heart. Kaikeyi, though she was noble, cultured lady, she lost her mental balance. Fear entered into her heart. Her face was flushed. Her breath became hot. She became terribly obstinate. Then, of course, the rest of the story you know. When Dasharatha came to her, how she was very terrible to him. She did not take rest till Rama was sent out of Ayodhya. So how these words of mantra acted upon, how it had tremendous bad effect. There's another instance, again in Ramayana, we see, you know, Ravan abducted Sri Rama's wife, Sita, when Rama was not there, when she was inside the hut in Panchavati. He came in the disguise of a mendicant and he just took her away. And so finally Rama had to fight with him, had to kill all the Rakshasa race to get release, to get Janaki out of Ravana's place. So there was a good brother, his name was Vibhishan. He warned his brother of the danger and the error of his ways. He said very clearly to Ravan, brother, you have brought Sita and with her death for yourself and your race. Your first duty to yourself and your people is to restore her to Rama. Give her back to Rama. Rama will forgive you. If you fail in this, we will all perish, certainly. He went on describing Rama's strength and skill and his mastery of weapons. Of course, Vibhishana could speak frankly without any fear because Ravan was his own brother. This made Ravana terribly angry. He abused Vibhishan severely and insulted him, used very harsh words. As I said, the words, the power of the words, it may be destructive and or constructive. In this case, it was destructive. He said, base fellow, and said, you are a disgrace to our race. Get out from here. When Ravan uttered these words, Vibhishan was unable to bear this insult anymore. He said, brother, you are going along the path of destruction. My advice, salutary but unpleasant, you reject. It is easy to speak sweet words. Your ministers are doing it. I spoke for your good, but truth is bitter, and you hate it. Telling like this, Vibhishan left. He left Ravana and went to Sri Rama's camp. Because Vibhishana left Sri Lanka, Ravana lost most of his power, because all the secrets of the place were revealed to Rama through Vibhishan. How each one is to be dealt with, everything, Vibhishana gave instructions to Sri Ramchandra. Ravana, Kumbhakarna, they are another brother, they had special powers, special boons from gods, which nobody knew, but Vibhishana knew them. So Vibhishana could tell Rama all these things so that he could act in a proper way. So finally, the whole Rakshasa race was wiped out. All these things happened because he insulted Vibhishan, and Vibhishan left the place and went to Rama's camp. So we find many instances how the words play upon. You can do and undo by the words. So one has to be very careful in using words, in speaking. In fact, the greatest tapas is to speak few words, to practice more silence. That's the best way. Practicing silence, you must think inwardly, repeat God's name, think of the divine glories, and then transform yourself. Realize your true essential nature. Swami Vivekananda declared, each soul is potentially divine. You have to experience that divinity in you. That's already in you. You have to experience it. You can experience that divinity only when you practice austerity of speech. It's one of the important spiritual disciplines. If you practice it, you are sure to get real peace and real joy. With these words, I conclude my talk. Thank you. Sahana bhavato, sahano bhunakto, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. May the Divine Lord protect us all. May He nourish us all. May we work in harmony with great vigor. May our study be illuminating and fruitful. May we not hate each other. Peace, peace, peace be unto all.